This is Justin Amazon bringing you the latest on Amazon. So this is the daily chart from Friday, the 23rd of February 2018. And it looks like on the 26th that Amazon is going to gap up above the high back on Wednesday last week at 1503.49. I'm going to jump into the 5-minute chart showing this was Friday, a little bit of Friday, and then the pre-market on Monday, the 26th of February. And I've got a couple lines in here, one being the highs from pre-market and just a uptrend angle that a couple touches here and then pulled back into before open. I'm just going to click through a few of the 5 minutes just to get an idea of what's happening right at the open. I did not trade this today. I was sort of watching it as it opened, but it was just very interesting moves that it made and things that we'll get into some more what we can do to track Amazon and make some money with it. So if we step into a 5 minute, the first 5 minute opened with a very large candle. It pulled back down through the pre-market, the last pre-market 5 minute candle, looking like it was going to go bearish and pull back further, but then it reversed and just went up, taking out the pre-market highs, which is a great indication that it would move higher. And then it continued moving up. Again, this is a bullish retest gap, going back to the daily, being a bullish candle. The gap was going to be up, and it opened, didn't even catch the open price. The open was 1509.53, so we're clearly up in this range to all-time highs. And it's kind of a good rule of thumb, maybe don't trade that right at the open on those. Wait for the retest to come in, which if you're aggressive, the retest could be this candle with the wick down, retesting the pre-market highs, and then continuing higher. So if you were watching this more aggressive, you could do that. It was not in this case. Maybe we'll get there. So I'll click through a couple more candles. Nice inside candle. Another candle with a wick that retested the pre-market highs. That's another opportunity. You could have bought here. You could have let that one happen. Bought here with a stop right below that 5 minute low. Again, being aggressive, and you'd already be at a nice gain for the day. And it looked like there was some more energy for this thing to move up. Some nice sideways candles, and then there you go. Then it jumped up a little higher, getting into the 1520s. And I've got a couple more lines drawn in here because I've already taken a look at what happened during the rest of the day. But this is a nice little move at the open with a couple retests of pre-market high. Easily could have been traded with a bullish retest gap strategy, and we'll talk some more about that another time. So we're going to skip ahead a little bit longer into the day. This turned out to be the, I believe, the high of the day with these candles, or close to it. We'd have to check when we get back to the end of the day. Actually, we can switch back over to the daily and take a look at what actually played out. And 1522.84 is the high, and yeah, that's the high. So it made the high pretty early on in the day, within the first 30 minutes of the day, and then traded within this range the rest of the day. But there's still some money that could be made. So we'll take a look at some of the lines, what these play out to be. It looks like there's an opportunity of it, the Amazon coming back down to the pre-market high again, seeing if we can get another retest, which could be another entry. And it looks like there's a touch. The low there is 1514.02, and I've got the line drawn. I think I have the line drawn. Oops. Well, there's the rest of the day. Didn't mean to show that yet. We'll come back in here. There's a touch here, and so again, could have been aggressive and bought right in this area, right in this range if you're watching it. and then bounced, and we'll see if that would have continued. No, so that would not have come back up to anywhere near the highs. Would have been a nice little aggressive move to play off that old resistance, new support that worked in this area, and this area. So it worked 3 times, and then this time it pulled back through and made a new low after this buying candle. Also looks like it took out the low of the candle here. That was 15, 13, 16. This is 15, 12, 15, 12, 60. And we'll see what happens next. So this candle, it crossed the pre-market highs, and could be an indication to go bearish. But again, we're talking about a bullish retest gap, and we're still inside the very large opening 5-minute candle with a very high volume. And still, we want to look for opportunities to go bullish on the stock intraday. The next candle bounced again. These two have very similar lows, 15, 12, 70, 15, 12, 60. And this is what we would call a tweezer-ish pair of candles, with a bearish candle coming into a low, and then a bullish candle coming out of that low with almost identical low price. And so this could be a way to play a move higher with a trigger above this candle, which is nearly a Marbosa candle. It is a Marbosa. The low is the open and the high is the close. Tweezer-ish bottom candle. But again, a very large range. If it were to move up to the high of the day, would be just a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio, and you'd want to play it more aggressively down in this level, looking for a bounce off of the lows from some of these candles, if not the low, retesting this previous high. We'll keep stepping through candles and see how that played out. A small doji candle, a nice bullish candle with the buying, and open and close are very similar to each other. An inside candle, looks like it moved up a little bit, breaking out, and I'll explain my lines here as we get into a few more of these. And it did end up moving out. Took out this high, which is a great indication it can move higher. But a couple bullish candles in here with that move. Now, since I already told you that the high back here was 15.2284, that was the high of the day, and I've got a downtrend channel drawn in, I can tell you we're going to take a look at a bit more of a channel that happened here. Without knowing that this was going to channel in a downtrend here, you can also kind of match up the angle of this uptrend and the down angle here, kind of a triangle pattern, a very large triangle pattern by the end of the day. But that's where I'm headed in taking a look. So we'll fast forward a little bit more. Chopped around up here would have been a great opportunity had you bought with a break above this candle, or even a pullback here. You could have been tightening up your stop underneath these bullish candles at any point here, and actually locked in a small gain by this point with any of these, or just continue to hold on until getting stopped out, which I think is about to happen. Yeah, probably would have been stopped out here with a little more of a pullback. This is where this channel comes a little more into focus, that there's a downtrend angle here, and what I wanted to show is that it just keeps pulling back some more until you get down to the bottom edge of this channel, which isn't necessarily defined yet unless you're using a couple candles in here to set up that channel. I'm looking at some more activity to get there, and what I really wanted to get to is some of the moves later in the day, because this was just chopped around. There was not much you could do through here unless you're really getting aggressive, buying off of a low, where you see a couple candles that are really tight with highs and lows, with the candles next to them, and getting a bit of a breakout and just trying to scalp some things. But again, it's really difficult to do that. You got to be really aggressive on some of those moves. Here's another move up into the upper edge of this channel, and then immediately comes right back down. So this is something you could have played bearish if you anticipated this was going to reverse here, as it indicated it was doing, to kind of follow this pattern back in here with some small inside candles, and this being a small candle. But again, not much indication to say, hey, let's go bearish up here, given that the overall daily was bullish. Keep fast forwarding. I think I need to move. No, we're okay here. So, I wanted to talk about this candle. So this was a nice candle, kind of an indecision candle, but low volume. That's why I've got the volume bar here so large. The volume didn't really spike at all. So it was at a good location. These couple of candles in here are right near this. Let me see if I can get back in here again. Showing that pre-market. There you go. So here's the pre-market highs. We've got some nice candles in here where we have a bearish candle coming in with a higher volume that didn't really break out bullish at all. Another one coming down. This looks like a continuation pattern if it were to break bearish, but it doesn't. And then this indecision candle right here sitting just above that old resistance, new support, but without the volume. It wasn't really a good, it wasn't a strong enough candle to take a move off of. Again, I wasn't trading this today, but there were some opportunities out there. So let's go a little further ahead, and it just bounced again, came back up into this downtrend. This is where this downtrend angle is very established, that maybe you could get ready with something coming down here with this up angle coming into focus off of that candle. And what I thought was really interesting is it comes back down yet again and looks like we're going to start breaking down from that uptrend. This is the first candle that actually closes below that uptrend that I had drawn in from earlier in the pre-market. I'm sorry, I keep zooming back out, but it just makes it a lot easier to see this with the full sketch in here. So going back all the way here, touch here, stayed above it because we're more so following this horizontal line, but I love drawing the triangles on Amazon because it really does follow triangles really well. So with the candles, let's see what's going on here. So this candle then really excited me. Instead of having a candle here that was indecision with low volume, now we've got a volume spike. If you look at the volumes, the last time we put in a volume this high was pretty much this candle. Actually, we're above the volume of that candle. So the last candle on the screen right now, the last time we had volume that size was way back here as people were buying in thinking it was going higher. So it's a bearish candle. It's sitting, straddling this old resistance, new support. It's a high wave indecision candle. It looks like that Amazon is breaking down from this uptrend, but we still have this horizontal line to break, this price to break. So let's see what happens in the next candle. And now this could be considered the retest of this uptrend, and we could see maybe it would go lower, but we get an inside day. Again, a good indication that it could continue lower, an inside day candle, and then we get sort of another inside day. It's got a little bit more of a tail, but it's it's a buying candle. So this is another triangle, and it's very small, good consolidation. I don't have this one drawing because it was just so small to draw. But if you look at these 5 candles here, or even if you include a couple of these, these last 6 candles, a really good triangle, really good consolidation. And I'd say whichever way it goes from here is the way to get in. Preferably bullish, because you may be bouncing off of the old resistance, new support line. And what's more is we've got some good volume coming in off of some of the candles here, and then I've also got the squeeze turned on here. And after we've chopped around for a long time, the squeezes tend to form with that consolidation. If you're not familiar with the squeeze, just look on YouTube for other videos on TTM squeeze, and it basically means that there's some more buildup, some more pressure that is just kind of sitting in the stock, and there's some more people that are just kind of waiting for something to happen. But we want to wait for some indication before we get in to take a move. So we'll go another candle, and here we go. This is a breakout bullish from that small. These, the last 25, 30 minutes of consolidation. If you don't include that one, the last 25 minutes, it's a breakout above these two candles, which the price here was, high was 15.16, and the high here was 15.98. So we've got a clear break of that, and this would be a great place to consider getting in bullish. We do still have the downtrend angle, but because we did come down and touch the bottom edge. So it's easy to say, okay, we could just stop here and roll back down. But again, with the volume spikes here and here, and sorry, I've got the volume shrunk back down. Here we go. The volume for the breakout being about the same amount as the volume, 40,000 shares, 38,000, 39,000 shares. Comparable or similar volume, breaking out above this candle, and then you could still wait and see, what was going to happen with the next candles. Inside candle, another bullish candle. This one breaking above with a close above. Last time we had that was here, and we never got above it, or at least the way I drew this in wasn't above it. So here's another low that's similar to this low. Keep shortening the volumes, but they're there. The volume's still there again. So this was inside, lower selling, a larger bullish candle breaking out again. So this is a bullish candle that's engulfing that bullish candle, and again, just looking like it could continue. Here's another selling candle, but it's inside. And again, looking at this downtrend channel, it looks like it could just roll over, but we've got some bullish energy coming in here. Another indecision, this one having lower volume again. And here we go, another breakout. So this is getting above this high. Now we're getting into the high near this candle. I think this was 15.1796. The high here is 15.18. So we're slightly breaking out from this high. And, again, you could make another high above this candle, or it could just pause here and roll back down. But we've had the bullish candles, we've had the bullish volume coming in that we didn't have, throughout the middle of the day. We are into the last hour of the day here. And so at this point, you should have been in buying off of old resistance, new support, which we never ended up breaking. Late in the day, we broke it here, immediately reversed, but it held here, 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 and here. We never closed below it today, except for this candle at 9:30 Central Time, which is a good part of the morning for looking for reversals. And there's some folks who are really good at trading reversals at that time of day. I'm just going to keep going through the rest of the day. We only have a few more minutes left, and it does end up breaking out above the previous highs, above this high, and is rivaling the high of the day. We ended up closing at 1521.95, and this would have been a nice run up from these 5 candles here, starting, or including the high wave indecision candle. And had you gotten in on this candle, this candle, this candle, this candle, any of these that pulled back basically to a range inside of this high wave candle, set your stop either down here, or even, if you'd set a stop here or not too tight, here, getting on this one, you would have had a nice move. The other thing I wanted to look at with this is some of the things going on with options. So this may look a little crazy, but it's just a visual to help look at what's going on in the options. So this was the daily chart I was looking at. Here is the 5-minute chart that we scrolled through, and you can see how the options just kind of chopped around. You can see this is the 15-15 call expiring this week. It was just losing value, chopping as the stock was staying within this downtrend, from basically, this portion of the day all the way into, the last about an hour or hour 15 before the market closed. So all this time, just moving down, losing premium. The other one here I've got is the 15-25 call expiring this week. And same thing, you just lose in premium as time goes marching by through the day. But I just wanted to bring our attention to a couple of these candles. So this candle is the high wave doji. You could see on the bottom right screen the price range. There was somebody buying between 11 and 11.33 on that price, and then so there's this candle, and then on this candle. So depending on which option you're looking at, I like sticking with the zeros and the 25s and the 50s on Amazon, especially with some of these large moves lately. But you can also get something that's slightly in the money rather than out of the money, that can move a little bit better as the prices or as the strike is getting deeper in the money. But let's see, is that the right candle? No, it's not tracking. There we go. So we were still watching during these candles. You could have been aggressive and bought, thinking it's going to bounce like it had before, or you could wait for that breakout. Either one. But start looking at these candles. So this one with the breakout, or the next one where it pulled back. These are prices when you look at the options. So this candle, I don't know why the cursor is supposed to be moving up here, but it's not. I have to restart the program. But this candle here, somebody bought at 11.80 off of that pullback candle. So had you gotten into the 15.25, say you set a limit buy at $12 and a stop down at around 11 or 10.50, even, that would have been a $1.50 risk on that trade, and then hung on as it moved up or tightened your stop and then gotten out at the end of the day, you would have just been trailing your stop, and the option price would have just continued moving up ever so slightly. Same thing on this one. Now see, now the cursor's matching up. So this price was 16.50 was the low, then the next candle 16.10. So this is a little wider range. So let's see, this was, well, maybe not, 15.45, and then 16.50 was the low. So yeah, maybe a little bit wider risk, or you could have bought it 16.50, or when it came down here on this candle, the low is 16.10. Maybe you would have been filled buying there, or maybe the 16.50 would have worked with a stop back here under this candle, maybe at 15 or something. That's about the same risk, and then the moves would have been similar also. So if you bought it 16.60, then at 18 you'd be up one risk, and then 19.50, which you didn't quite get to, would have been two risks, or 2R. And let's see, if we did 12 and 10.50, so that would have been 13.50 would be the next one. So this one we would have been up just an R. So it would have been a scalp, but that's looking at the options expiring this week, playing it off of a consolidation late in the day with a high wave candle sitting right on our old resistance and support, the squeeze forming and not triggering until it's already made more of that move. And I've also got the squeeze on the daily just to show that on Friday the squeeze actually triggered on the daily, and with that I would anticipate Amazon continuing to move higher. Even though it's making all-time highs, the market had just a very large correction, about 10%, and Amazon did as well. But it, the squeeze that formed last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then triggered Friday, we're continuing into. I would watch for any pullback on the daily. I don't have an hourly chart up. Actually, I could pull it up real quick and see what's going on in the hourly. I don't know if there's a squeeze. So there's a squeeze back on Friday on the hourly, but any pullback into the low 1500s, coming back into the highs, right around 1500, 1495, anywhere in here would be an excellent retest. And then with the daily, I would say that it has a large potential to keep moving higher. I don't know how high, but the squeeze tends to last 8 to 10 bars, and you can always be moving your stop to trail up. But right now, if you're in, hold on. If you're not in, look for a pullback on the hourly, possibly in the daily, and see if it can move sideways a little bit and build up some more pressure. If you've got any more squeezes forming, I think there was something forming on the 15. Yeah, so today we were forming a squeeze on the 15 that on the daily did not break out during the day, but it could, if you turn off the extended hours, it could be breaking out, or it could be triggering tomorrow on Tuesday. So definitely something to watch. Amazon is what we want to keep our eye on for some of these large moves. And hope you enjoyed the video. This is Justin Amazon signing off.